I never really understood why a bowl of something so simple, so completely natural, can turn into this quiet, awkward struggle an hour later. You sit down to a warm, comforting bowl of your grandmother's dal or just a really hearty lentil soup on a cold evening. You finish the meal feeling deeply nourished, and then it happens.
Yeah, the slow expansion.
Right, your stomach just starts to expand, your waistband gets incredibly tight, and you find yourself quietly trying to slip out of the room before, things get audible.
It is so universal. And people often just suffer through that physical expansion in total silence.
They really do.
Yeah.
Like, you assume your individual body is just terrible at processing healthy food,
Yeah,
or that you have some sort of hidden intolerance that you never knew about.
exactly. I mean, we constantly hear that a flat stomach means a healthy stomach.
Yeah.
So when you eat a bowl of healthy beans and blow up like a balloon, you think, well, my body must be broken.
But I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and it feels like that assumption is just entirely backward. It's a total biological blind spot. We are missing a very basic digestive piece, and it turns one of the world's oldest staple foods into a frustrating thing.
It really does. And it mostly comes down to a very specific set of complex plant sugars found in lentils, chickpeas, and kidney beans.
Those complex fibers, right?
Yeah, they're these long, dense sugar chains.
Mm.
And the wild part is human beings simply do not make the missing enzyme needed to break them down.
Which is wild to think about. I was thinking about the digestive tract like a really strict nightclub.
Oh, I like that.
Right. So the small intestine is the velvet rope at the front door, and the bouncers there are your digestive enzymes. When you eat something simple like white rice or a piece of fruit, they're on the VIP list.
They just get waved right through.
Exactly. The bouncers wave them through, they get pulled right into the blood, and the process is totally seamless. But when one of those complex sugars from a lentil walks up, it doesn't even get stopped.
Nope, it just breezes right past the velvet rope.
Untouched, heading straight into the large intestine.
Because the bouncers, those enzymes, they literally can't grab it. Your small intestine has no tool to snip those complex sugar chains into smaller pieces. So they arrive completely whole, completely intact in the large intestine,
And the large intestine is just packed with trillions of gut bugs.
teeming with them. And this is where the dynamic totally shifts. Because to your gut flora, those whole plant sugars are an absolute feast.
They're just waiting for it.
Oh, yeah. They immediately begin to ferment those sugars. And, the natural byproduct of any bacterial breakdown, whether it's brewing beer, making fresh sourdough bread, or digesting a bowl of lentils, is gas.
Which means the gas that we blame on the beans doesn't actually come from the beans themselves.
Not at all.
It is entirely a byproduct of our own active gut bugs digesting the food for us.
Yes. A single spoonful of lentils can feed hundreds of different species of bacteria in your gut. This is why people react so differently to the exact same meal.
Right, like if we both eat the same soup, I might feel fine, but you might feel terrible.
Exactly. If someone has a gut setting that processes those sugars very slowly and steadily, they produce a tiny bit of gas that just passes easily. But someone else might have bugs that attack those sugars super fast.
And that creates a massive backlog of air.
Right. It stretches the gut wall, hits those pain sensors, and causes that tight balloon feeling.
But see, if we literally lack the enzyme to digest them in the first place, it makes me wonder if we are fighting our own biology.
How do you mean?
Well, if a food skips the small intestine entirely and causes all this physical pressure, maybe we just shouldn't be eating it at all.
I get why it feels that way. But we really have to separate the idea of temporary pain from the idea of a broken body. This is completely normal human biology.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Exactly. The fact that those complex sugars reach your large intestine whole is by design. Your body evolved this way specifically to feed those lower gut bugs.
But the whole wellness world constantly tells us that any bloating is a sign that your diet is wrong or your gut health is ruined.
And that idea just ignores what is actually happening during that breakdown process. When your gut bugs ferment those sugars, gas is only one part of it. The much more vital things they are making are short-chain fats.
Right, those healthy fats. I know one is called butyrate.
Yes, butyrate is huge. It is the main energy source for your gut cells. When your bacteria make butyrate from lentil fiber, your gut cells absorb it and use it to repair the gut lining.
So it's actively healing you.
Healing you, producing a protective mucus layer, and keeping the spaces between your cells tightly sealed. which stops things from leaking into your blood.
Oh, wow. And don't those short-chain fats also enter the blood and help with immunity?
They play a massive role there. They regulate your immune system and lower total body inflammation.
So the gas is essentially just the exhaust pipe for an internal factory that is actively building armor for our digestive system.
That is a perfect way to phrase it. It's a local, short-term exhaust for a system-wide, long-term benefit. The temporary bloating effect you feel after eating beans is often a sign of very deep, long-term gut health.
It feels very similar to sore muscles after lifting weights.
Oh, totally.
Like if I haven't been to the gym in 6 months and I go do a heavy set of squats, my legs are going to be incredibly sore the next day. But the soreness doesn't mean my body is broken.
Or that squats are toxic to humans.
Right. It's physical proof that the tissue is being pushed, adapting, and getting stronger.
Yeah.
The bloating from lentils is just the gut getting a workout.
The physical adaptation is remarkably similar. If you exercise that gut muscle daily, your body adapts. Your gut bugs actually shift their numbers over time.
They learn to handle it.
Yeah. The strains that efficiently process those fibers multiply. Eventually, they learn to handle that exact complex sugar with way less gas production.
Okay, so if it's just a matter of the gut adapting over time, I'm curious why someone's tolerance can swing so wildly from day to day.
What do you mean?
Like, you could eat a bowl of lentils on a really calm, lazy Sunday and feel totally fine. But if you eat the exact same meal on a chaotic Tuesday at work, it suddenly hurts.
Yeah. That comes down to your nervous system. Your capacity for that gut workout is heavily changed by your daily stress levels.
So our mental state changes our physical digestion.
Absolutely. The body maps out distinct shifts across life stages too. Like in your 20s, your gut is still locking in its long-term patterns based on what you eat.
But then you hit your 30s.
Right. And you're typically dealing with an entirely different mental landscape. Career pressure, money stress, family demands.
And that mental stress triggers a physical cortisol spike.
Exactly. When cortisol spikes, your body enters a fight or flight state. From a survival view, digesting a complex plant fiber is not a priority when you're running from a threat.
Because the body thinks you're in danger.
Yes. So your nervous system pulls blood flow away from your gut and pushes it toward your arms and legs. This drastically slows down your gut movement.
The physical wave motion that pushes food through.
Right. The machinery processing the food just slows down to a crawl, so the lentils sit in the large intestine for way longer.
Giving the bugs more time to eat them?
Yes. The bugs have more time to ferment them, producing way more gas from the exact same portion size.
So the food hasn't changed at all. The internal setting processing the food has been altered by stress.
Exactly. And then as you move into your 40s and beyond, the natural variety of your gut bugs begins to shift. Strains that used to easily break down certain fibers might just fade away.
This perfectly mirrors a story a friend of mine told me. My friend Michael, he's a runner in his 40s.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He decided to massively increase his plant protein for marathon training. So he just started eating huge daily bowls of lentils without any buildup at all.
Oh, no. He just overwhelmed the whole system.
Totally overwhelmed it. He had severe, awful cramping during his runs. The gas expansion was so painful, he literally thought he was doing lasting damage to his body.
He probably assumed he had to quit eating beans entirely.
That's exactly what he did. He thought his body rejected them.
But Michael's issue was just the sheer volume. He dropped an enormous load of complex sugars into a gut that lacked the workforce to handle it.
Too much, too fast.
Right. The fix wasn't to fear the food, but to respect the slow build-up process. If you scale the intake back to very small portions, like a few spoons a day, you give those good bugs the time they need to multiply.
And then the workforce expands.
Exactly. Within weeks, the workforce grows, the cramps vanish, and the body easily pulls out the protein and fiber.
So daily routine builds the muscle, but you can't force it to happen overnight.
Not at all.
But beyond just how much we eat and how stressed we are, the way we prepare the food changes its entire chemical makeup before it even hits the plate.
The prep phase is where the true magic happens. And honestly, the most common modern mistake is taking dry lentils straight from a bag and boiling them.
Or dry roasting them straight into a quick curry to save 30 minutes on a weeknight.
Which is the worst thing you can do. You are serving yourself the absolute maximum level of complex sugars. And dry, raw lentils are also covered in plant defense layers.
Oh, like those mineral blockers.
Yes. They are a defense tool for the plant. They actively bind to vital minerals like iron, zinc, and calcium in your gut, stopping your body from absorbing them.
So if you don't break those down first, you are passing the best parts of the food straight through your system.
Just washing them away.
But the simplest, most deeply effective fix is just soaking the lentils in water, right?
It's basic chemistry. Those complex, gas-making sugars are water-soluble. When you submerge lentils in water for 68 hours, the water simply pulls a huge chunk of those sugars and blockers out of the bean.
You can cut the bloating risk in half just by leaving a bowl on the kitchen counter while you sleep.
Yes, but the absolute golden rule here is that you must throw that soaking water away.
Right. Because if you dump the lentils and the dirty soaking water directly into your soup pot,
You are just boiling the exact sugars you wanted to remove right back into your dinner.
you have to pour that murky liquid away, rinse the lentils super well under fresh cold water, and cook them in a totally new batch of water.
Exactly. And none of this is new, by the way. Traditional food cultures that have lived on beans for thousands of years figured this out intuitively, long before anyone had a microscope.
Like the classic South Asian way of making dosa or idli.
Oh, that is a brilliant example.
Those batters are made from crushed lentils and rice, but they are left to ferment on the counter before they ever touch a hot pan.
Because the wild air yeast and lactic bugs enter the batter. They begin eating the sugars in the bowl, effectively pre-digesting the heavy carbs for you.
So by the time you cook and eat the dosa, the gas-making sugars have already been broken down by the bugs in the bowl.
Rather than the bugs in your gut. It is such an elegant, ancient food science fix.
It really is. But it makes me wonder what happens when we lose those old habits. Like my friend Sarah, you know Sarah.
Yeah, of course.
She grew up eating properly soaked lentils her whole life without a single issue. But in her early 30s, her work schedule got crazy.
So she started taking shortcuts.
Exactly. She started skipping the overnight soak, just tossing dry lentils straight into a slow cooker before she left for work.
And let me guess, she started getting intense, painful bloating.
Really painful, and she made a very common, very modern leap in logic. She thought her body had just failed her.
She thought she had developed a sudden allergy to a food she had eaten since childhood.
Yes, she almost cut out her favorite comfort food entirely. But once she understood the chemistry of what was happening, she realized her body wasn't broken. Her habit had just changed.
So she went back to the old way.
She went back to the overnight soak. She rinsed them carefully and eased them back in slowly. Within 3 weeks, the painful signs were entirely gone.
It is a powerful reminder of how much physical control we actually have over our own digestion.
But even knowing that, an 8-hour soak requires planning.
It does.
If I'm coming home at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday, I haven't soaked anything. I immediately reach for a tin of canned lentils as a shortcut. But I always wonder if they offer the same benefits, since they just sit in their own liquid for months on a shelf.
Canned lentils undergo a really intense heat and pressure process. That combo of high heat, pressure, and time actively breaks down the tough walls of the sugars.
Okay, so the factory does some of the work.
Yes. Plus, many of the remaining sugars slowly leak into the canning water over time, so they are naturally way easier on the gut.
But the same rule about the dirty water applies, right?
Oh, strictly. That thick, cloudy liquid in the can is just loaded with those leaked sugars. You have to drain the can completely and rinse the lentils under cold water until it runs perfectly clear.
Wash away the heavy load. Okay, so we have the prep dialed in, but what happens once the food is actually on the plate?
This is where pairings come in.
Because there's a very specific user guide for what goes with beans. Certain pairings that either help the gut or completely derail it.
Spices play a profound functional role here. Ingredients like cumin, fresh ginger, fennel seeds.
They aren't just there to make it taste good.
Not at all. They contain active natural oils that act as calming spices for the gut wall.
They physically change how the gut muscle behaves.
Yes, they relax the smooth muscle tissue lining your entire gut. When the gut wall relaxes, it prevents spasms. It allows any trapped air to move through the system smoothly without building up painful pressure.
That makes so much sense. I also read that pairing beans with live foods helps a lot.
Like plain yogurt or fermented veggies.
Right. Adding a side of live culture yogurt or maybe some fresh kimchi drops millions of helpful bugs straight into the gut right alongside the fiber.
They share the heavy lifting. And fresh fruits like papaya contain natural juices that break down heavy proteins, easing the overall workload of the meal.
So those are the good combos. But the bad ones usually involve stacking too many heavy fibers on a single plate.
That is the most common mistake people make when trying to eat healthy.
Like, if I eat a massive portion of lentils and pair it with a huge side of raw broccoli or raw cabbage, I'm setting myself up for a really bad evening.
Exactly. Heavy greens like broccoli and cabbage are wonderfully healthy, but they contain their own dense, highly complex fibers.
So it's just too much at once.
When you combine them with lentils, you are flooding your gut bugs with an enormous pile of tough fiber. The bacteria have too much to eat, and the gas buildup rapidly outpaces your body's ability to clear it out.
So the goal is to space out the heavy fiber load, have the lentils for lunch, and save the heavy greens for dinner.
Space it out, give your body a chance to catch up.
I also noticed a rule against drinking fizzy drinks with a heavy bean meal
That just comes down to basic physics.
because you're adding more air.
Right. Your bugs are actively making natural gas in the gut. If you wash the meal down with sparkling water, fizzy soda, or a cold beer, you are pushing literal mechanical air into the stomach.
You are doubling the physical pressure inside a closed tube.
Exactly. It's just asking for trouble.
Let's look at some of the common myths around beans because I've always avoided cooking lentils for really long periods of time.
Really? Why?
Well, I had this lingering fear that if I boil them too long to break down the sugars, I'm destroying all the protein and the iron in the process.
I hear that a lot. But heat mostly just changes the shape of the complex sugars. It snaps those tough bonds. Iron is a core earth mineral. It doesn't melt away or vanish with heat.
And the protein.
The building blocks of the protein are highly stable. The core value of the food remains totally intact. You are simply taking apart the difficult sugars. You aren't sacrificing the good stuff.
That is a relief. Another common worry is pairing lentils with white rice.
The classic combo.
Right, there's this weird modern fear that combining a starch with a heavy fiber makes the meal harder to digest, like it will sit heavy in your stomach and make you tired.
But from a body chemistry view, white rice is almost entirely simple starch. It contains almost zero tough fiber. So when you pair lentils with rice, the rice actually waters down the overall density of the meal.
It dilutes the heavy load.
It is a very gentle, balanced pairing. It spaces out the complex sugars, which is exactly why beans and rice became a staple pairing in almost every traditional culture around the globe.
It just works. And beyond the food itself, the physical action of our bodies plays a huge role.
Digestion always begins in the mouth.
Which we forget when we eat at our desks.
Exactly. Thoroughly chewing your food physically crushes the tough walls of the bean. It opens up the surface area. This allows whatever enzymes you do have, and your stomach acid, to work much more easily before the food ever reaches the lower gut bugs.
It's doing the work up front. I also found it amazing how much a simple walk helps. Just taking a gentle stroll within 30 minutes of eating.
It is surprisingly powerful.
The physical sway of walking triggers the stretch sensors in your gut. It literally kicks off the physical wave motion that moves food forward.
You are mechanically helping the system so the air doesn't get trapped in one sharp corner of your gut. It is a simple habit that actively manages the inner chemistry.
When you step back and look at all these small pieces together, the biggest feeling I get from all this is just relief.
Relief from the guilt.
Yes. Mastering this isn't about avoiding these foods out of fear for the rest of your life. It's about truly understanding the machinery inside you.
Working with it, not against it.
Right. It's using proper prep through a simple soak and a good rinse. It's respecting your gut bug's need for a slow, gentle buildup. And using smart pairings like calming spices to support the system.
You are shifting from a place of bodily panic to a place of quiet control. You aren't at the mercy of the food if you actually understand how to process it.
But there is a final kind of wild thought that emerges from all this.
What's that?
Well, we know that the active breakdown of these complex bean fibers is the exact thing required to produce those short-chain healthy fats.
Yes.
And we know those exact fats are absolutely vital for keeping the protective mucus layer of our gut thick, lowering total body inflammation, and preserving our long-term health.
They are non-negotiable tools for a strong immune system.
Given that reality, what if our modern obsession with having zero bloating is actually starving our gut health?
Oh, that is a deep question.
We have this intense, constant pressure to keep a perfectly flat stomach 24 hours a day, even right after eating a large meal.
Which is just not how a human body works. If you are constantly avoiding complex, heavy fibers purely to avoid a temporary change in how your stomach looks in a mirror, you are denying your gut bugs the exact raw materials they need.
The materials they need to build the tools that protect yourself.
Exactly. You are trading long-term armor for a short-term visual.
What if a little post-meal expansion, that familiar feeling of a tightly inflated balloon after a warm bowl of your grandmother's dal, isn't a sign of a ruined diet or a broken body? What if it is simply the quiet sound of your body's internal armor being built? Think about that the next time you sit down to a warm bowl of soup.
These thoughts, these questions, they don't have to stop here. Wellness Geeks has many more podcasts and videos just like this one. Subscribe to the channel and explore other episodes. They all flow the same gentle way. If this podcast felt genuinely useful to you, share it with even one person in your life. That one share can bring a real change in someone's life, and it helps Wellness Geeks reach more people who truly need this. If this brought you real value, look for the Join button right next to the Wellness Geeks logo below this video. Click it and become a member of the Wellness Support Circle. Your support helps honest health awareness reach thousands who are silently struggling. Wellness Geeks moves forward because of you. Thank you so much from the heart for being here.